I'd like to talk a little bit about justice and the justice system. I think it's important that it gets talked about because we grow up and we learn early on in school some things about the justice system and some really wonderful promises of the justice system and the way it's actually carried out, and even its basis and precepts aren't quite the way you're taught about it in third grade or so. First thing we need to talk about is this high and mighty promise of innocence until proven guilty. Because the actual truth of justice system is that you are a suspect until found not guilty. Now the first thing that you must understand is that punishment begins from the very onset. This idea of innocence until proven guilty, that only exists on that statue of the woman holding a balance with a blindfold. But that's not even a very accurate portrayal or metaphorical concept of what justice is. I say picture a very, 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 very large eagle, and it can either lay stacks of money in your lap, or it can pick at your brain and pick at your heart, maybe little snips with its beak, or it might just take your whole entire life. That is the bird of justice, the eagle of justice. Now you're a suspect until found. Not guilty, and punishment begins from the onset. The first punishment is the suspicion. If there's suspicion, what usually brings suspicion is often just circumstantial evidence. Perhaps you fit the description of someone who committed a crime, or perhaps worse yet, it could be a profile, such as a backpack or something like that. These are things, or it could be you match the race of the person who committed the crime, or the gender, or the approximate age, or the hair color. A number of circumstantial facts can be evidence that cause the suspicion. If there's enough of this evidence to cause suspicion, then comes the accusation, the second form of punishment from justice. And once the accusation happens, now the real punishment begins, because then goes the rumors, which can lead to the beginnings of the destruction of your whole reputation. Now, with the accusation also comes the gathering of evidence, which could be a knock at the door from police to ask questions. Neighbors peek out their windows, see something like that, more rumors fly. So the punishments are always out there. There is the burden of proving not guilt at all times. Now, if there is enough circumstantial evidence and things come from the gathering of evidence, then comes the arrest. Now the arrest becomes the initial loss of all rights at the time of the arrest, because you must submit your human will into the hands of another human's will. And if you resist in any way whatsoever, that can have physical repercussions. And from those physical repercussions can come a whole different charge, that even if you later are found not guilty of what the whole arrest was happening for to begin with, you can still suffer the crime of disorderly conduct, which is any sort of resistance to the process of the bird of justice. And after the arrest comes humiliation, being transported out, police car. Then goes the jail experience. Now what? I won't go into all the details of the jail experience because everybody's familiar with it, at least to some degree. You watch TV and movies. And what you have to understand about jail is the whole nature of it is to make you not want to be there. From the very get-go, you are not supposed to want to be in jail. This is the quickest way to get people to bond out. Jails are not heard. Jails are full. They can't stockpile all the people waiting trial in the jail. Most people bond out. When in order for people to decide if it's worth the humiliation of having to call somebody to post bond or something like that, the experience has to be bad enough that they need to feel like they need to get the heck out of there. So the jail experience is naturally a miserable experience. Now, something a lot of people don't keep in mind is that it's not just the inmates of the jail that have it hard and suffer that dismal atmosphere. The police and the jail keepers also are in the confines of that dismal atmosphere, so don't expect a lot of bubbly, cheerful happiness going on around you. Although, since they do all suffer from being in that bad dismal experience, if you can bring a little light into that experience, it's not a bad idea. So, perhaps you fit the description of someone who committed a crime, or perhaps worse yet, it is part of the punishment, all part of the process. See how far away we've already gotten from innocence until proven guilty. We're already deep into the punishment.
From jail.
Now, then if you get out, if you're bonded out, there is that relief. But you don't go back to your total freedoms because now you are in the confines of the worry of awaiting trial. Now, in the worries of trial, you try and resume your normal life as you await your trial date, and your concerns are whether or not there will be a loss of freedom, loss of job, loss of reputation, and financial things that you must consider. Now we move away from the police and jails into the courts of where you take your next step into the punishment of the justice bird. And you can either see, you've always heard it said, and it's a great promise that you also hear in 3rd grade, that if you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. That is true. What you're not told is the public defender is naturally in cahoots with the DA and the judges and the police. And there is this unwritten law, unwritten foundation that you won't be taught in 3rd grade. That there's a foundation of money. The bird of justice, as I mentioned, drops money in some people's lap and picks at other people. Well, in order to get the money from one place, it has to get them from another, so sometimes it picks at your pockets too. So, in these unwritten foundations of the justice system is the idea that people that are earning a lot of money are contributing more to society than somebody who does not earn a lot of money. So if you can afford a lawyer, that is one step already out of the burden of proving yourself not guilty, because you're already considered an asset back into society. Because if you can afford a lawyer, you're obviously earning some money, therefore paying some taxes into the system. And it's also considered an asset to the whole legal system, because naturally a legal degree costs a lot of money. And these lawyers all need to be making enough money in order to pay for that college that they invested into their future. So that money has to come from somewhere, and if you can put money in a lawyer's pocket, you better believe it's going to count as a step to not guilt. So, And you may have heard this terrible term, but sometimes turns out to be true. The public defender can actually be,
See how far away we've already
say it,
from innocence.
public pretender. They're not necessarily in your corner.
Now, then,
So, but if you can prove that you're a taxpayer and pay for that legal degree,
if you get out, if you're bonded
then
out,
you
then
must
that's
realize
that.
that, you know,
You don't go back to your total
the monetized legal system is a little bit brutal to the poor, but it doesn't step from brutality into evil unless you were wrongly accused of the first crime that started all this.
If you await your trial date and your concerns are whether or not there will be a loss of freedom, loss of job, loss of reputation, and financial things that you must consider.
And if you were wrongly accused,
the best thing you can hope for from an outcome of the justice system isn't innocence, it's just being found not guilty. Because although you've heard rumors of innocence until proven guilty, the court of law will never even deem you innocent. Best thing you will ever deem you not guilty. Therefore, it's apparently built on the precept that if you didn't do this crime, you just been punished for something else we didn't get you doing. That must be the case, because otherwise, what they is the Burton of Justice would have to consider that if you were actually innocent, you just went through all this stuff, well then a lot of people committed a crime against you and there'd have to be some retribution for that crime. So therefore, just consider yourself punished for something you didn't get caught on. Number one, first thing you must know is that punishment is law. Okay? So
the beginning of that punishment is law is fear. That is your first punishment. You need to fear the Burton of Justice because, let's face it, one thing that is common, we expect that, we've proven in that metaphor of that Lady Justice outside with the blindfold on, that we want justice to be blind. But justice, Lady Justice, doesn't exist. It's the eagle of justice. And we still want it to be blind. But with an eagle flying around up there blind, well, eagles have to take a shit. Sometimes that shit might fall on you. And so, what you really should consider is old peekaboo bird justice. It's flying around up there. People demand to be blind, so it's got them goggles on, but it peek around and make sure it's not shitting on, say, Elon Musk, shit on somebody else.
Because in this monetized system of justice, sometimes the penalty is also money. Well, you don't want the penalty to come from someone you already get money from the taxes for. So what you do is the way the justice system works is it'll punish somebody for not having enough money. So say there's an inspection particularly bad on a vehicle because somebody has a vehicle in state of disrepair. They get pulled over and they get a fine. Now, not only do they have the burden of getting that vehicle fixed, but they have the burden of paying that fine. So for not having enough money, now they have the penalty to also pay. Therefore, it works like a nice little whip on the back of somebody to be like, earn more money, get that shit fixed. You better do something, you better change your life. That's how the Burton of Justice carries things out. So, the second punishment, being punishment is the foundation of law, is being a suspect. Now, how are you going to not be a suspect? Well, the best way to not be a suspect is to blend in, conform in as many ways possible as you can. Don't stick out in any way whatsoever. Don't have any distinctive character. Now, in this conformity, don't conform to a profile that's associated as rebellious. Conform to uniforms work nice. You can figure out a way to just wear uniforms around, but don't be trying to steal valor. That's a crime. So find a way to conform to the biggest group of people you can that'll keep you out of being a suspect. Now, then part of the punishment is to being accused, and D in the punishment is law is to being arrested. So it all begins with the fear of the police. Number one, so founded on the fear of police, you must begin. Now, is law. You have to have just the right amount.
Beginning of
fear.
that punishment is law is fear.
Because if you're really afraid of the police, well, you're not a suspect. You're afraid. But if you're not afraid of them at all, then that might just be considered disrespectful. So you may have to call somebody half your age, sir, as if their experiences are so more valid than yours are, and all these things. But don't kiss their butt too much, because that's suspicious. So finding your spot on that fear spectrum when dealing with the police, just be afraid. That's all I gotta say. I don't know how afraid you should be, but just be afraid. That's the beginning of your punishment. Now, 2 in the summary of all I've said is, if you cannot afford an attorney, you're either too lazy or too generous. But either way, you better have that money when Lady Justice comes knocking. Now, even the bald eagle has to shit sometimes. That's number 3 in this summary. And number 4 is, don't be conspicuous, wear a uniform. All right, I'm out. Well, you don't want the penalty to come from someone you're already getting money from the taxes for. So what you do is, the way the justice system works is, it'll punish somebody for not having enough money. So say there's an inspection sticker bad on a vehicle because somebody has their vehicle in state of disrepair. They get pulled over and they get a fine. And now, not only do they have the burden of getting that vehicle fixed, but they have the burden of that fine. So for not having enough money, now they have the penalty to also pay. Therefore, it works like a nice little whip on the back of somebody to be like, earn more money, get that shit fixed. You better do something, you better change your life. That's how the bird of justice carries things out. So, the second punishment, and punishment is the foundation of law, is being a suspect. Now, how you going to not be a suspect? The punishment to not be a suspect is to blend in, conform in as many ways possible as you can. Don't stick out in any way whatsoever. Don't have any distinctive character. Now, in this conformity, don't conform to a profile that's associated as rebellious. Conform to uniforms work nice. If you can figure out a way to just wear uniforms around, but don't be trying to steal valor. That's a crime. So find a way to conform to the biggest group of people you can that'll keep you out of being a suspect. Now, then part of the punishment is the being accused, and D in the punishment of law is the being arrested. So it all begins with the fear of the police. So, founded on the fear of police, you must begin. Now, you have to have just the right amount of fear of the police. Because if you're really afraid of the police, well, you're going to be a suspect for being afraid. But if you're not afraid of them at all, then that might just be considered disrespectful. So, you may have to call somebody half your age, sir, as if their experiences are so more valid than yours are, and all these things, but don't kiss their butt too much, because that's suspicious. So finding your spot on that fear spectrum when dealing with the police, just be afraid. That's all I got to say. I don't know how afraid you should be, but just be afraid. That's the beginning of your punishment. Now, 2 in the summary of all I've said is, if you cannot afford an attorney, you're either too lazy or too generous. But either way, you better have that money when Lady Justice comes knocking. Now, even the bald eagle has to shit sometimes. That's number 3 in this summary. And number 4 is, don't be conspicuous, wear a uniform. All right, I'm out.